Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into my official list of NFL teams that are in desperate need of a new stadium. I've got 6 teams total. We're going to count it down from 6 to 1. All of these stadiums are at least 20 years old. The top 3 teams on my list are currently talking about building a new stadium. And guys, these are stadiums that are just ugly, they're bland, they're in desperate need of replacing. So let's start at number 6 team that needs a new stadium. It is the Carolina Panthers, who currently play at Bank of America Stadium. This place opened in August of 1996. It's 26 years old and has a surprisingly high capacity of just over 75,000. I believe this is also the home of the ACC championship game. At least it was. I think it still is. But guys, when it comes to Bank of America Stadium, I call it like the worst version of Arrowhead Stadium. It's like Arrowhead's ugly sister. It looks kind of similar to it, but it's just straight up ugly. There is not a single thing about this stadium that is unique. The seating is very ugly to me. I know you've got that Carolina blue, the 2 grandstands with really nothing to write home about. The scoreboard is mediocre at best, even though they recently renovated it, and it's best known, at least to me, for that monsoon game when Cam Newton was a rookie, if you guys remember, when the place basically flash flooded in the span of 15 minutes. As for a potential replacement, there has been the idea of adding a roof. It's very common. Many teams want roofs now. They want a controlled climate. They want retractable. You can see kind of an interesting glass dome idea right there. That'd be very unique for the stadium, but overall, it is still only 26 years old. It's not like it's 40 or 50. They want to keep it. There has been a few little inklings of a new stadium, but this recent article says the Carolina Panthers plan to stay in Charlotte, may renovate it. They need to do something. It is a very ugly stadium, and it is in desperate need of a major renovation. There's just nothing about the stadium that is unique. It's just one of the blandest things, and it's 26. So guys, the Carolina Panthers coming at number 6. Moving down to number 5, it is the Cleveland Browns and First Energy Stadium. It opened in September of 1999. It's just 22 years old and has a capacity of just over 67,000. Currently, the build on this was completely rushed. Where they put this stadium was not a good plan. I don't know why. It's the lakefront. It makes no sense. It's a trashy part. I've been to this stadium a few times. The location right off the lake, not a smart idea. It seems like when the Browns got, the expansion team in 99, this was rushed to build, and they quickly made it. And there have been a few talks about potentially building a dome. I know Jimmy Haslam wants at least that. This offseason, they did renovate it. There used to be there used to be 2 major bleacher sections on both end zones. It looks a lot better renovated. I will give it that. And we do have this recent article. The Cleveland Browns have launched a feasible study for significant stadium renovations for First Energy Stadium per team release on Monday. The statement was in response to a Northeast Ohio Trans report that the franchise is seeking a new $1 billion stadium as part of a lakefront redevelopment project in the city. The stadium would be built elsewhere, and they would redevelop the land that the stadium currently sits on into kind of, just more of a city-type vibe area. But guys, this is another one. There's nothing special about it. It's very average, and it was a very rushed stadium in a very bad part. This should have went right in the center of Cleveland in my eyes, not on the way back end of it next to the lake. personally, so the Browns come in at number 5. And there's been rumors Jimmy Haslam is obsessed with these multiple events places, and the only way to have like a multiple event use stadium is to build a dome because you're located in Cleveland, Ohio. You got the controllable retractable roof. There's been a few renderings of a possible retractable roof. Very unique technology there with kind of glass windows rolling over the top in the middle of the stadium. We'll see if they end up doing something like that or maybe just building a whole new stadium. The problem is it's only 22 years old. Who's going to foot the bill for this? Is it going to be half taxpayer money, half Haslam? That's the whole situation right now in Cleveland. We'll have to see. Moving on to the number 4 team that's in desperate need of a new stadium, the Chicago Bears. They've been at Soldier Field forever. Soldier Field opened in October of 1924 and went through a major renovation in 2002, reopening in 2003. It has a capacity of just above 61,000, and I did not realize how different Soldier Field was before the renovation. It practically looks like a Roman Colosseum with like pillars. So interesting, but it goes through the major renovation, and guys, this stadium is so ugly. The giant wall of seats. You guys know what I'm talking about? Just a massive mammoth wall of seats. And I think this is not a popular stadium at all. Many people in Chicago think this is Chicago, Illinois. We should have a better stadium for the Bears than this. And there have been talks of possibly building a stadium outside of Chicago. This as recent as 12 hours ago, Chicago exploring renovation, adding possibly a dome. So all of these teams are obsessed with the idea of adding a dome or some sort of retractable roof because it allows them to use the stadium as a multi-purpose thing, and you can also control the climate. Personally, I think domes look terrible on stadiums. They have to be done right. 99% of the time, though, I hate domes. And even in a place like Chicago, they say it's cold. Build your team around defense. If it's cold, use it to your advantage. You don't have to build a dome. But Chicago's had very bad offense. They're struggling to find a franchise quarterback. They might want a dome for their new QB. But when it comes to Soldier Field, it is just, the renovation in 2002. They should have just built a brand new state-of-the-art stadium rather than taking the old Soldier Field and trying to renovate it. This thing was built in 1924. We're really going to try and renovate this. You don't have the money to build a new one in Chicago? Come on. Soldier Field and the Bears coming at number 4 on teams that need a new stadium. Number 3. Now, these top 3 teams are all currently in potential talks to get new stadiums. And number 3, the Buffalo Bills. We understand they very likely will get a new stadium. They're in deep talks right now to get the public funding. They're currently at Highmark Stadium. Of course, it was formerly Ralph Wilson Stadium, which many people know it as. It opened in 1973, which was 48 years ago, and has a current capacity of just over 71,000 total. This is the one stadium that I will say is very unique from the standpoint. It's the one stadium in the NFL that looks like a college football stadium, in my opinion. Very, very small. It's shocking that it actually, sits 71,000 people when you look at just the overall height of it. And I will say, it does fit the team. It fits the city of Buffalo, smaller, modest, packed in, but it's clear the stadium is just simply not up to par in terms of modern technology. It needs massive renovations, or not even massive renovations. They need to tear it down. It's just simply too old and too small, and you guys can see on Wikipedia, the Buffalo Bills' new stadium has been proposed by the Bills to be constructed in Orchard Park, and succeed Highmark Stadium beginning in 2026. We don't have very many official renders of the new Bills Stadium, but apparently a little bit smaller on the capacity, 62,000 with a grass surface, and I believe it is an open-air stadium. It would be interesting building Josh Allen a dome, but it's going to be, they want to take advantage of that cold weather. That's kind of the essence of their city, rather than building a dome and I like that. I like keeping it open air. Don't build a retractable roof or a dome. The problem with their current stadium, Highmark, it's just simply too old. It's just simply too old. It's too small. The technology is clearly behind. They're in desperate need of a new facility, and they're going to get that facility possibly as early as 2026. We'll have to see when the official new renders come out for their new stadium, and they actually break ground on that. But that comes in at number 3. Number 2 on my list, teams that desperately need a new stadium, it's the Tennessee Titans. And you would think Nashville, they would have such an amazing place. This is just such a trashy stadium, Nissan Stadium. I think this is the host of the Music City Bowl. It opened in August of 1999, so very similar to First Energy Stadium and the Cleveland Browns. It is just 22 years old, which is shocking because it's shown just so much decay over the past few years, and it sits just under 70,000 total people. This one is just so trashy and so bad. It's so bland. It's like a worse version of the Buccaneers Stadium. Raymond James Stadium. It's like a worse version of that, in my opinion. It reminds me of it. It's got very similar to the Browns, just bland, just like a worse version. At least the Browns has cool orange seating. The dark blue I don't like. And again, it looks, I don't know, it just looks like a stadium that was built in the 70s. Like you look at an aerial shot of it and there's nothing to it. How was that built in 1999? Oh, the exterior of that is so ugly. They need a new one bad. That's a great city, Nashville, Tennessee. We'll see if they can get the funding for a new stadium. The Titans are in desperate need of an upgrade. But guys, there can only be one. This team, if it were up to me, I would have, tomorrow break ground on a new stadium. That's how bad it is. And build it by week 1, 2022. We need it ASAP. You cannot play another game in this place. It is the Washington Commanders and FedEx Field, opening in September of 1997. It's just 24 years old. It has a capacity of around 67,000, and if you guys actually look at the capacity thing, you'll see it keep updating and it keeps going down. So I'm going to explain to you the major mistake the Commanders or, Washington, they made. You take a look at this photo. This is the stadium before they messed with the upper deck. You can see it's full. It kind of looks old, but it's a normal stadium. They weren't getting good attendance. So what they did is they took seats out of the upper deck, then they updated, and you can see, very weird, like steel beams on where the seats used to be. They didn't take them down. Look how bad it looks. And then the year after that, they took more seats out of the upper deck, and they honestly, I think every year, they just keep taking more seats and more seats and more seats, and they're making it look worse and worse and worse until it's by far the most ugly stadium in the NFL. You might as well just take a wrecking ball to the upper deck at this point. It would look better if you just removed the upper deck completely from the stadium. It looks so bad now. Oh my goodness. I understand you have attendance issues, but if it's that bad, just remove the entire upper deck. They're in desperate need of a new stadium. You can see this latest update. The Commanders want to build a 55,000 seat domed stadium along with an outdoor amphitheater that could hold around 15,000 to 20,000 people, as well as high-end shops, restaurants, bars, and residential living. They would also move their practice facility to the site. The project would cost $3 billion, so they're desperate. They're trying to build a new stadium. Get it up ASAP. Break ground tomorrow, please. You can't stay at that place. FedEx Field is a complete dump. And we remember it happened to Jalen Hurts. The fans ended up collapsing on Jalen Hurts. There's a photo of it because the grandstand collapsed. The Eagles fans were putting so much pressure on the grandstand, it ended up collapsing. Oh my goodness, guys. But those are my top 6 teams that desperately need a new NFL stadium. Guys, make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.